I would like to formally welcome you all to Chippenham's Town Council's Planning, Environment and Transport Committee meeting. Please may I remind everyone this public meeting is being streamed to YouTube and will be available there in the public domain for a period of 6 months. Can I please remind all councillors to use their microphones when speaking, and to raise their hand clearly and keep it raised when voting. Please ensure you are respectful to others in attendance at this meeting. So we have received a notice of 3 public questions of the meeting. Please can officers confirm if there are any other members of the public present who have indicated they wish to speak?
Just those 3, Chair.
Okay. I would like to invite members of the public to speak by name. Please note after 3 minutes selecting, microphone will be muted. I will now invite the first speaker to come up, and that is Matthew Short.
Good evening, councillors. My name is Matthew Short, and I was a former town councillor and pet committee member for Hardens and Central, as I think you all know. I want to add my support to LHFIG spending decisions you're being asked to make tonight. CTC reference 109, Wood Lane and Avenue La Flèche Junction. So thank you to officers for clarifying the CTC contribution for this is £195. This was a residents initiated scheme that I supported. It's a long-standing problem that many drivers simply don't understand the road layout at the entrance to Wood Lane. Some end up on the wrong side of the road, heading into traffic, just 2 houses distance from the play area entrance and a short distance to Charter Primary School entrance. So though this may not resolve all issues, it's a low-cost solution, making it abundantly clear to drivers that they must not turn into Wood Lane on the wrong side of the road, heading towards children exiting the park and school. The separate ANPR survey request you're being asked to fund is to obtain greater understanding of traffic flow through Wood Lane and the wider London Road area, and whether a point closure at Wood Lane is appropriate. So the Causeway, London Road, Wood Lane pedestrian build-out. So this is a request I worked on with the Causeway Road Safety Group over several years. As many of the group are elderly with mobility issues, they've asked me to represent them here tonight. This small build-out solution on the Causeway, proposed by the Highways team, has 2 benefits. 1, physically slowing traffic that speeds up at the Causeway, particularly at night. And 2, providing a shorter distance crossing point at Lads Lane, particularly helping those who are vulnerable with mobility issues. I therefore request that you support this funding on behalf of the residents. However, you may wish to consider alternative suggestions to the proposed parking bays. For example, perhaps this is a suitable location for Wiltshire Council on-street EV charging points, or even a parklet green in the area. Finally, you're asked to comment on the proposed plan CTC reference 099 for Park Lane and St Paul Street. So this work was initiated by Councillor Alstrom and supported by myself following multiple near misses at the John Coles Park exit pedestrian crossing. The proposal also joins up a missing cycle link between John Coles Park and Marshfield Road. Just to highlight, no residents' parking spaces are lost on St Paul Street. Traffic can still travel one way down St Paul Street as it currently can. The cycle road markings are advisory and would allow cyclists to connect from Marshfield Road to John Coles Park without needing to run the gauntlet of Marshfield Road, particularly important for children on bikes. Cycle Chippenham are also working with officers on the design detail. So this is a pragmatic proposal to facilitate cyclists on St Paul Street without affecting residents' parking. However, the principal aim is to improve crossing safety. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we go to our next speaker, that is Ross Hemmings.
Evening, everybody. Here tonight to observe what you're going to do with the LHFIG, but I just wanted to say on the town council contributions, the LHFIG normally asks the town council for a 30% contribution, but you'll probably notice in the agenda tonight there are a couple of items on there where we are asking for a larger percentage contribution. I just wanted to say that this is something that occasionally we have to do because we're short of money, and anybody who knows anything about the LH Fig, one of the main moans and groans is that the finances don't meet the expectations quite often. So it's just that. So it will be a standard 30% contribution, but occasionally we may ask the town council for more depending on the application. So that's all I wanted to add on that. Thank you very much, committee.
Thank you. And now we go to our final speaker, and that is Councillor Paisley.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good evening to my fellow councillors. I'm here this evening to express my concern over the proposal for Wiltshire Council to extend parking charge hours in its car parks from 8 AM to 6 PM to 7 AM till 7 PM. Extending charges into the early evening risks undermining the vitality of Chippenham's nighttime economy by reducing footfall in restaurants and bars and can potentially endanger our purple flag status. While I recognise the financial pressures facing the council, this change risks reducing overall town centre usage and may prove counterproductive in the long term. A balance should be struck between revenue generation and maintaining accessible, thriving local town centres. Retaining earlier cut-off times for parking charges would better support this balance, especially considering that parking charges will also be increasing across the county. I would urge Wiltshire Council to reconsider this proposal and to prioritise policies that encourage, rather than deter, people from using town centres in the evenings. I hope my fellow councillors will also reject the proposed parking time changes, and I implore my colleagues who are also on Wiltshire Council to find a different source of revenue generation to balance the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just thank all the speakers we've had this evening? It's good to hear. Okay, so we start the agenda off at number 1. Apologies for absence. To receive apologies for absence, please can officers confirm if we have received any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we've received apologies from Councillor Steve Townsend due to prior commitments, and apologies from Councillor David Paul due to caring commitments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And agenda 2, on to notification of substitution. To receive any notification of substitution made to the Chief Executive. Can officers please confirm if we have any other substitutions?
We've received no substitutions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so we go on to number 3, declaration of interests. All members of the Town Council are reminded to declare any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests they may have in any business of the council, its committees or subcommittees, in accordance with the latest approved code of conduct. Members are reminded to declare any dispensation granted in relation to any relevant matter. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Murray.
Thank you. I chair the Cycle Network Development Group, Cycle Chippenham. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No, good. Okay. Okay, so item 4, and that is minutes. To receive the draft minutes of the Planning, Environment and Transport Committee meeting held on the 2nd of April 2026, copy attached. Minutes will require a proposer and a seconder for approval. Are there any comments to be made in relation to the accuracy of the minutes? Okay, so do we have a proposer? Councillor Cousins, and a seconder? Councillor Murray. Okay, oh, sorry, Puntis. You said it. Well, it could be worse. Okay, so I move on to the votes. Please can I have all those councillors in favour in favour of the minutes? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, and now we go on to item 5, which is chair's announcements. There are none. And okay, so we go on to item 6. and it is the planning applications, to consider planning applications as attached submitted to the Wiltshire Council and to submit observations. So we go to the first one, which is application PL 2026-01960, and that is for full planning permission at 10 Whitworth Road. And we go to officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. Comments from the planning officer. No objection, subject to the case officer confirming on site that the proposal would not adversely affect the amenity of the occupiers of number 10 through the loss of light or being overbearing, given the proposed extension would be built upon the boundary and may contravene the 45-degree code in relation to this neighbouring property. And overall, subject to those comments, the planning officer recommends no objection. Thank you.
Okay, so we will go to the ward councillor, and that is Councillor Rutledge.
Sorry, could you use your microphone just for the people at home? Thank you.
My apologies. I'm out of practice, having been out of the country for a few weeks. Yes, I have no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments from the councillors? No? Okay, so we're proposing no objection? We get a nod? Yeah, okay. Okay, and so we're on to the next one, which is PL 2026-01917, and that is for household planning permission at 19 Greenway Avenue, and that's for a single-storey rear extension. We go to officers' comments first.
Thank you, Chair. Comments from the planning officer is no objection, subject to the case officer confirming on site the proposal would not adversely affect the amenity of the occupiers of number 21 through the loss of light or being overbearing, given the proposed extension will be built on the boundary and may contravene the 45-degree code in relation to this neighbouring property. To remain in keeping with the street scene, it would be beneficial that the frontage retains some of the boundary wall and soft landscaping while still being able to provide an off-street parking space. And again, the planning officer recommends no objection subject to those comments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And we will go to Councillor Cousins for comments.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you for officers' comments, of which I am in complete agreement with. I think it's vital that the case officer visits the site and make sure, as has been said in there, that there is no issue for the neighbour. I note there are no comments lodged online. Neighbours would have been contacted, of course, so neighbours haven't come back in any way pointing out objection or otherwise to this. So I go along with the officer's suggestion of no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments from other councillors? No, happy to go with no objection? Yep, okay, thank you. Okay, so on to the next one, which is PL 2026-02068. And that is householder planning permission in 32 Early Drive, Chippenham. And we will go to, oh, there's no officers' comments. Okay. Okay, so come to the ward councillor, which is Councillor Stragg.
Chair, I have no comments, and I see that there are no comments have been made by neighbours and so on. So I would recommend we accept and recommend approval.
No objection.
No objection. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? No, no objection then? Okay, like this. Okay, on to the next one. That is PL 2026-01961. This is householder planning permission at 38 Webington Road. And that is for a conversion of existing integrated garage to form accommodation to host dwelling. And There are no officers' comments, so we will go to Councillor Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. I had a quick look at the plans. This is literally putting accommodation into the garage. So from the appearance of the plans, the front gate of the garage, the drop gate on the garage disappears and you get a standard household front with windows in it. As a consequence, there's no shading issues or anything of that sort, and I can see no objection whatsoever.
Thank you. Any other comments? No, no objection then? Okay. Right, so the next one is PL 2026018222, and this is for full planning permission at 49 Marketplace. And we have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. So the proposed removal of the modern recessed shop front and its replacement with a flush timber-framed, more traditional shop front that incorporates store riser and pilasters would accord with the design advice in the shop front design guide and policy TC5 of the Chippenham Neighbourhood Plan. It would enhance the special character of the Chippenham Conservation Area in accordance with policy TC4 of the Neighbourhood Plan, and the planning officer recommends that this is supported. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So we go to Councillor Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. I completely agree with the officer on this. It sounds like it's actually a beneficial change to the front of the shop front. So yes, I support too.
Any other comments from councillors? So are we happy to go with support? Okay, right, okay. So that's on to the next. So it's PL 2026022149. And this is householder planning permission at 53 St Mary Street. And alongside with PL 2026023888, and that is of the same address. Officer's comments.
Thank you, Chair. Comments from the planning officer. The Chippenham Conservation Area Character Appraisal 2024 notes that the townscape in this section of St Mary's Street is of exceptionally high quality on page 155. The proposed development would be of high quality design that preserves the special character of Chippenham Conservation Area in accordance with policy TC4 of the Chippenham Neighbourhood Plan, and he recommends no objection. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, and we go to Councillor Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. Again, it looks relatively straightforward case, and I'm quite happy to agree with the officer's comments and give no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments from other councillors? No? Okay, so we're happy to go with no objection. Okay, fabulous. Okay, and the next one is PL 2026020040. And this is for householder planning permission at 86 Malmesbury Road. And so we go to Councillor Cousins for this.
Yeah, I've studied the plans and looked online. No comments from local residents. I've got no objection. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from other councillors? No, so we're happy to go, no objection? Okay, all right. Okay, no objection. Okay, so the next one is PL 20260190, householder planning permission for 103 Sheldon Road, and that's me, apparently. So I haven't seen any other comments for this. I haven't seen any, so I'm happy to go with a no objection. Is everyone happy? Yeah. Any other comments or anything? Missed that bit. Okay. Okay, so next one is PL 2026 02036. And this is the removal and variation of conditions for the address is Sir Audley Arms in Audley Road. We have officers' comments first.
Thank you, Chair. So the planning officer recommends objection in this case. The comments are that the building is considered to be a non-designated heritage asset with the officer report for the public house conversion PL 2024-11516 noting there would be minor changes externally to the existing building, particularly with regard to the front elevation, which is entirely appropriate given the building is attractive and makes a positive contribution to the street scene. The original fenestration and entrance doors are being retained on the front elevation. There are concerns with regard to the loss of what is likely to be the original windows on the front elevation, particularly given these are a key feature of the building's attractiveness with leaded windows and stained glass in some of the top panes. The proposed UPVC frames would unlikely match the same profile and slimline nature of the existing timber frames and would appear chunkier. This would be contrary to CP 57 of the Wiltshire Core Strategy, the Wiltshire Design Guide, and paragraph 140 of the NPPF, which is clear that local planning authorities should also seek to ensure that the quality of approved development is not materially diminished between permission and completion as a result of changes being made to the permitted scheme, for example, through changes to approved details such as the materials used. As a compromise, the Town Council would be satisfied if existing front windows remained with either secondary glazing or shutters positioned behind for thermal insulation and new proposed heritage-style UPVC windows installed on the remainder of the building where they are not visible from the street. And there is a recommendation to object to this. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so we go to Councillor Stragg for his comments.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm very grateful to the planning officer for identifying that issue, and I think it shouldn't be too difficult for the people who are building or converting it to take into account the comments and perhaps comply with what we've proposed. So I'd recommend no objection subject to the comments going forward to the planning authority.
Okay, thank you. So are you recommending an objection?
I have quite an objection, but if that's what the planning officer considers is necessary to pursue what we're seeking, okay, I'll go with that.
Okay. Okay, so if we put object with comments, yeah, okay. Right, Councillor Cousins.
Thank you. I strongly support officers' comments here. I think this is an absolute key building in this area, and it creates a focal point along this particular road. And as pointed out, architectural aspects of this building, particularly the front door and the windows at the front, are a real important part of the structure. And by removing them, it would have a massive detrimental impact upon the area, the views from people from neighbouring houses and people walking up and down the road. So I think objection is the right way to go with this, and I would support it in the strongest possible way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And as soon as I walk past this building virtually every day, it would be a shame to see it go as well. So we're all happy with object? Yeah, okay, lovely job, thank you. Okay, now we're on to tree applications. So this one is PL 2026-02055. And it's a notification of proposed works to trees in conservation area. Over to Matt.
Thank you, Chair. So comments from the tree officer. This is a proposal to prune all trees back to the boundary wall, side to be reduced by up to 3.5 metres. The species include yew, sycamore and leylandi. A group of mixed species located to the northeast of 2 to 18 the bridge. The trees are situated to the rear of the buildings, adjacent to a little used footpath, which acts as a service area for the adjacent businesses. Amenity value is likely to be low. The vitality of the trees appears to be normal. The works outlined within the notification are relatively minor and therefore unlikely to have little visual impact or never negatively impact the amenity value of the trees. And the recommendation is no objection. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And we go to Councillor Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. I haven't specifically gone and looked at this lot, but I'm loosely familiar with the area, and I go along with the officer's comments and quite happy to say no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments from councillors? No, happy to go with no objection. Yeah, okay, no objection. Okay, so we go to part 2, planning, as to consider whether a request be made to Wiltshire Council ward member to call in any of the attached planning applications for consideration by the North Area Planning Committee. Are there any planning applications we would like to put forward? No? Okay. And 3 is to note the appeal against refusal of planning application PL 2026-00549, householder planning permission for 43 Oak Road in Chippenham for the 2-storey side extension, demolished garage and increased parking area. Copy attached. Okay, and now we go on to item 7. And that is the LHFIG proposed plan CTC reference 099. And this is to receive and consider any comments on proposed plans for highway improvement request CTC ref 099, pedestrian crossing safety on Park Lane. Copy of plans are attached. Are there any comments about these plans we would like to put forward to LHFIG? Oh, Councillor Cousins.
Yeah, my comment would be that I think that the proposal is a very, very good one. However, I'm not sure about the way the cycle path is marked at the moment, because it would appear that you'd be cycling at the wrong side of the road. And so I would just like planning officers to bear that in mind when they look at it in future. Thank you.
Yeah, we can make a note of that one. That's no problem. Okay, so we're going to ask for a proposer. Or any other comments? No other comments. Okay, so a proposer for the plan for CTC reference 009. Councillor Murray, proposer, and a seconder. Councillor Rutledge. Thank you. I would like to move on to the vote. Please can I have all those councillors in favour of the comments? Yeah. Okay. So are we all in favour? 1, 2, 3. What?
That was just to
Cousins?
support Councillor Cousins' comments. So that was...
Okay. Okay, right. On to item 8. Okay, and we're on Chippenham LHFIG contributions. To receive and consider a report from the Democratic Services Officer regarding financial contributions to the local highway and footway improvement group for highway improvements previously supported by the Town Council. Copy attached. Over to Sadie.
Thank you, Chair. Hi all. So the purpose of this report is for y'all to consider requests from Wiltshire Council to contribute to LHVIG schemes, which were previously agreed in principle at preceding PEC committee meetings. And then if supported, these contribution schemes will be treated as committed expenditure. So in most instances, the town council is asked to contribute 30% to the total cost of approved schemes. However, there's a couple of requests where a higher percentage has been requested. This won't, I've heard from the chair that this isn't a habit, but yeah, finances are tight, so that's what they're asking for. But yeah, so for each contribution requested, councillors are asked to consider, is the request supported? And if the request is not supported, why? So first we've got CTC reference 109, Wood Lane and Avenue La Flèche Junction. LHVIG is requesting £195 to provide some signage and to cut back vegetation and just make it a bit clear that you're not supposed to turn down the wrong side of the road. So there's that one. I'll just go through them real fast and then you can do the recommendation. And then we've got dropped curbs at various locations around Chippenham. LHVIG is requesting £4,500. So it's been agreed, with Chippenham's contributions to take the locations of Brook Street, Frogwell Park, and Kilvert Close, and then 3 locations along Queen's Crescent. And so the estimated cost total is about £9,000. So LHVIG is seeking a 50% contribution for this one. Next is the pedestrian build out of the Causeway / London Road / Wood Lane. The total cost of this project is about £8,000 at the moment. I don't think this is the end of this one, but it's like a very big start. So LHVIG is seeking a 40% contribution from the town council. That is £3,200. And then last, they're wanting to do an ANPR survey on Wood Lane, just to determine the traffic volume on the road. And they're requesting 40% contribution for this, which is about £700. So the financial implications of this, if the town council supported all of these schemes, it would be a committed expenditure of £8,595, which would come out of this year's budget. And then y'all currently have £14,000 remaining to commit this year. But yeah, I'll turn over to the chair for recommendation. Thanks.
Okay, so the recommendations. Okay, so we'll go through each contribution request individually. Councillor Rutledge.
Can I just ask for a point of clarification here? Is there an opportunity to comment on whether we think the particular solution proposed by LHVIG is appropriate or not? Or are we purely deciding whether or not we're going to contribute the money?
I think if comments are made, I can take them to them, but it's mostly about the money. But if you have comments, I can write them down.
Councillor Bragg.
Just say as a, I forget what the word is, but I live on Wood Lane, so on that item, I might comment but not vote.
Thank you. Okay, so Councillor Puntis.
Just to make a point that means for the rest of 26-27, we'll have £5,000 left in the budget if we approve all of these for the rest of the 11 months.
Okay, any other comments? Okay. Okay, so we'll go through them individually. So, so CTC reference 10109, and that is for Wood Lane and Avenue La Flèche Junction at Lanes, and that's 195. Okay, so do we support the CTC reference 109 for 195? Do we support it?
Can I comment on this?
Go on, Councillor Bragg.
I won't, but I'll comment on this. This is to do with the, so there's already existing signs saying no right turn. There is an existing sort of signs that say no entry for those things already. I think that if drivers are minded to ignore those existing signs, putting another one up, you know, and we mean it, it's not going to really bring the benefits that they're thinking. But you know, it's not a massive sum of money. So, but I won't vote on this one.
Councillor Puntis?
Notwithstanding what Councillor Bragg has just said, a lot of thought and time has gone into this, including myself with previous councillors going to look at the problem on multiple occasions. And in fact, I sat up on the roof of somebody's garage witnessing exactly this problem happening. And I agree with you. My initial reaction was, were there already signs? And the officer said that one of the ways that they have found makes the biggest difference is to put a sign on the road, which is what this will, I think, is going to do. So it's minimal cost. It is dangerous. I just think it's worth giving this a go.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Rutledge?
I have some comments from Steve Townsend, who was not able to attend this evening. Can I add his comments?
Go ahead.
Okay. In respect to this, he says, at the Avenue La Flèche access to Wood Lane no right turn issue, the road marking proposal is good, but also the signage needs to be larger and the build out needs to extend further towards the roundabout at London Road. There is no requirement to reduce the vegetation on Little England side of the road.
Okay, we thank Councillor Townsend for his views there. Okay, so are we happy to support this reference? Okay, that for voting for? Yeah, unanimous, against, abstain, yeah, there you go, go through. Okay, next one is the dropped curbs in various locations. Councillor Puntis.
One of these is indeed in my patch as well. I just want some clarification. It was agreed to take forward locations on Brook Street, Frogwell Park and Kilvick Close. 3 number locations on Queen's Crescent will be taken forward through TAOSJ. The LH figure seeking 50% contribution from Chippenham Town Council. So is the cost estimate of £9,000 just for Brook Street, Frogwell Park and Kilvick Close? Or is it for all of them? But as the 3 locations on Queen's Crescent will be taken out, does that not reduce the overall amount of cost, therefore reducing our 50%?
I believe they've asked for what it will take to get everything that they've listed done. I'm rephrased.
No, I know we can't ask the LH Fig chair, although somebody might want to look in his direction and see a nod or a shake of a head. I actually don't know what the nod means. Does that mean yes? So have they the cost of £4,500 or £9,000? Does that include all the locations shown, or? Yeah, right. So therefore, the cost to us for this bit isn't going to be £4,500, is it? How can it be if they're not doing them all? They're not doing the 3 locations on Queen's Crescent. They'll be taken forward through a different. Or am I reading this completely wrongly?
I don't know that I have a good answer for you, honestly.
What's TAOSJ?
I believe I've heard in the past one of the high.
Right. So yes, that's what taking action on school journeys, which is a different
Yes, I believe I've overheard the highways officer say that a pair of dropped curbs costs about £3,000. So the locations on Queen's Crescent, I think, are not included in this cost.
Right,
And-
use of I thinks there, I think we need to know.
Yes, but there's also a big thumbs up in the back, so. So I believe that the £9,000 will cover 3 pairs, which are the Brook Street, the Frogwell Park, and the Kilbert Close.
Right. In that case, sorry, I don't want to seem
Sorry.
monopolising this, but through the chair, I think we're committing ourselves to too much too soon. And I think a lot of drop curves have been done across the patch. Certainly in the last year, we've approved quite a few over the last couple of years, actually. So I would be of a mind to put this on hold for the time being, because there may be other more pressing projects that come forward that we should be looking at in the future. Because after this, if we do approve it all, we will literally have £5,000 left after a month.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Chair. So could you clarify how the drop curb proposals came through? Because in the past, we've always had a PET where councillors have been asked to determine what drop curbs are needed in their area. Because I noticed there's none in Moncton coming through, and I haven't gone out and asked. And I know there are some that are needed. We used to have a feedback from ourselves as to where we want to drop curbs. Does that not happen anymore?
I don't know, but I could ask the highways officer if that's something we could look into. I believe.
I have an answer for you, but I'm not allowed to speak.
Go for it, Councillor.
In the past, what we've done is looked at a whole host of drop curbs and put a substantive bid in that sits outside this. That could be a solution moving forward rather than committing to all of this now.
Bear with us 1 second. Okay, so we're going to look to suspend this one. So would there be a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Puntis, and a seconder, Councillor Owen.
So just for clarity, the suggestion is we suspend standing orders to allow the specialist to speak. Okay.
So proposing to
Proposer for the and then what did I say, councillor Owen, didn't I? That's right, yeah. Okay, all those in favour? I think that's, can we just have a hands up, because we've had a bit of discussion, there we go. Yeah. Fabulous. Yes. Right, okie dokie, right. On to the next.
I'll speak now.
Oh, Ross, do you want to?
Just on the back of that, it's obviously we've asked town council in the past for suggestions for drop curbs, and we've got there's 40 on the list or something. So what we try and do is pick off 3, 4, 5, half a dozen every year. And in this case, the Brook Street, they form a chain, and that's what we try and do. We try and not do one in isolation here and there. It's like the ones on Queen's Crescent, which we're trying to get funding for from the Taking Action on School Journeys, and that's going through. And Lawrence Cable's working hard with the school there. But like I say, the Brook Street ones we try to get 2 or 3 put in that actually form a route, rather than putting them in willy-nilly. Does that help everybody? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to speak and suspending standing orders. That's the first.
Chairperson would have been nice, but you know.
Can we ask another question while we've still got standing orders suspended? Yeah,
Go
so
for it.
asking the chair of LHFIG, is there a potential then that this could be put forward as a substantial bid separately?
Well, we tried that in the past. Councillor Adrian Foster tried to put in a substantive bid to get all of the drop curbs done at the same time, because it is a DDA, to make the town DDA compliant, and everywhere should be DDA compliant. And not only, and it's not only for disability, but it's also access, and it's also the cycle network. It's people with buggies, it's people with scooters, everything. So we did put in a couple of years back, we did try to get a substantive bid to get them all done at once, but that was thrown out, and it was said that it can be done incrementally, and that's the way we should do it. I believe we might try again to get a substantive bid to do that, but we've recently had already 2 substantive bids accepted in Chippenham, one for Marshfield Road, and I'm proud to announce one for Union Road as well. So Union Road is going ahead, but thank you for your question.
Right, we do one more question. We'll go with councillor Owen.
Thank you, Chair. A question then about the school journey project. Would the town council be required to make a contribution towards that through the chair to our expert? So the 3 drop curbs.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so, because that comes under Wiltshire Council's Taking Action School Journeys, and all the schools have school travel plan, many of them don't. And under, if you have a school travel plan, you can then apply for the council to have ameliorating travel considerations around school infrastructure and things like that. Will not go to the but these things often come to the LHA first, and then we try and portion them out so the LHA spend isn't spent out and 500. So we can
Sorry, that's it now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, thank you to our specialists can sit back down now. And,
Yes.
we will, that's been very, very helpful, and we will restart the meeting proper now. Thank you, Chair.
Relating to the drop curb, yeah? Yeah, go for it. Councillor Puntis.
So my
Councillor
proposal
Murray.
is, as I said, we've just heard that I think the phrase the LHFIG money will be spent out or, you know, early doors in the timescale of the funding availability, 12 months. So my proposal is that we don't approve this and maybe look at it later in the year when we've had a chance to look at other potential projects coming forward. So I would make a proposal to reject this one.
Thank you, councillor Murray.
I was going to propose something slightly different, but I don't know if we have to take that one first or something. But I mean, it could be a friendly amendment to that. Basically, I think we should go back to LHV and say, whilst we support this in principle, given the scale of it, we'd like to see if you can get a substantive bid for it first before reconsidering it.
Okay.
Need a
So
second.
all in favour of?
Needs a second, Chair.
Okay. Oh yeah. Done the proposer. Let's just do a. That was proposed. Okay. Seconder. Councillor Owen, and all in favour. Okay. Thank you. And that's taken through. Right. So next one is the Causeway / London Road / Wood Lane pedestrian built out. So any comments? Councillor Murray.
So if I understood correctly from our speaker earlier, and I think, I mean, this isn't in my ward, so I'm not totally familiar with what finally came through in terms of the build out, but rather than have more parking though, I'd like to see the build out used for things like cycle stands and electric charging points and so on, which would benefit the residents and wouldn't increase the amount of traffic that can then sort of park in that area. So the parking wouldn't be reduced, but you wouldn't be added to either, and you'd have additional community facilities in it. If we could put that forward.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Puntis.
I don't think we're at the stage of looking to support or otherwise this, because the next steps are the wider consideration of a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit may be best progressed once the adoption of the revised speed limit policy is complete. Consideration is needed from the group regarding the funding of the pedestrian improvement on the Causeway and the HGV signing proposal. To further progress consideration of a point closure on London Road, the ANPR survey will be needed, which is also on our agenda. The group will consider funding for this. Proposals for changes to traffic calming and additional measures on London Road will be developed once traffic survey data is available. I don't think we're in a position to say yes to this, so I think we should suspend this one or not approve this one and invite them to come back to us once we've seen all these other things come together. And that I'd like to make a proposal on that, please.
So we got a seconder for Councillor Puntis's suggestion. Okay, so all in favour?
So are we all in favour of suspension? And one, two, three, four. Those against? And abstain. Okay, right. Okay. So let's just go for the proposal that Councillor Puntis put forward. So to those in favour of Councillor Puntis is, yeah, we can debate it first. So who would like to go first? Anyone? Okay, obviously.
So just to clarify, what I'm saying is that we have later on the next item on the agenda is the ANPR survey, which I think we should support. What I'm saying is I don't think we can support this pedestrian build out as yet until, because of the report I've just read out, we need to see the results of the ANPR survey and other things before we get to the pedestrian build out stage. So I'm suggesting we suspend this subject to seeing those other things, and then we can reconsider it in the full knowledge of everything we need in order to make that decision.
Okay, let's go councillor Rutledge.
Thank you. I've got a comment from Steve Townsend, which rather ties in with the sorts of things which Councillor Puntis is saying. Pick out the right bits. The additional street parking proposals planned would reduce visibility of pedestrians waiting to cross vehicles heading towards the marketplace. If the build out and parking were on the other side, there would be no such issue. There is an opportunity as part of Wiltshire Council's street EV charging project to include some or on-street charging bollards with the new parking provision. So it rather ties in with this idea of let's have a look, let's see, what alternatives when we've got some various other things considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Was it councillor? Who was next? Councillor Cousins?
Thank you. Yeah, I see it as two separate things, really. The Wood Lane ANPR survey isn't necessarily linked to the causeway development, which we're looking here. So that's why I think we should we should proceed with it at the moment. However, I've got a comment for the causeway development with the pedestrian build out, which I think is very good. However, I don't really see it as an opportunity to put parking in, which could be detrimental and pull more car journeys into town. I think this is a fantastic opportunity to put, as our speaker earlier, Matthew Short said, a parklet or something like that, some destination which is there at the side of the road where people who walk into town, after all, we have as many people walking into town or cycling into town as driving in cars, as previous surveys have shown. And so what better than to have part of the way into town, nice area with a little bit of green space, a bench or two, which could also be used by local residents too. So I think it would be helpful if when this went back to LHFIG, they perhaps considered not the parking spaces, but a destination parklet instead. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Murray.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Cousins. I think we should support it. I think this is in principle. So if we go back with those comments, we can still vote again whether we want what finally comes through. So I think if we make the points that we've all made about cycle parking, EV charging points, etc., being part of it. I don't think it's dependent. I can see the link that Councillor Puntis is making to the APNR and to 20 mile an hour and things like that, but I don't think it's dependent on that. And I think something needs to be done there. So I think we should support it.
Okay, one more, councillor Puntis.
I'm not making the link. It's on the next steps bit about this. It actually says the ANPR survey. What this has thrown up is there are lots of different things coming in that could be, we should look at this, we should look at that, we should do this, we could do that. If we're committing to £3,500, I personally feel that we need to know what all those things are and know the cost of those things before we commit to any money. That's the reason for my proposal.
Okay, just through the chair, obviously any other hands up, but the Councillor Puntis's proposal is that the proposal is not supported, subject obviously, and so do we have obviously you propose that? Is there a seconder for that? Okay, do you want to please?
Okay, so raise your hands if you support councillor Puntis's proposal. Those against? 2. Okay, thank you. So abstained? Yep. Is that done? Okay, right, on to the next. Wood Lane ANPR survey. Any comments from councillors or questions? Councillor Puntis.
I think we should support this.
Councillor Bragg.
I don't think we should support this. It's, you're either going to put 20 miles an hour limit in or you're not. You don't need a traffic survey for £1,000 to make that decision. So I think it's a waste of money.
So you're against?
So I propose the motion that we oppose this.
Okay,
I
so
need a seconder.
all in favour of opposing this one? Of okay, any more comments to come forward? No more comments anywhere? Oh, Councillor Murray.
If I'm understanding Councillor Bragg correctly, he's saying that if the new speed limit policy comes in, we won't need to waste this money on this. But of course, we don't know that that will necessarily come in, but it's likely. So it's certainly worth waiting to see if that comes in, because then we can save ourselves £1,000 and decide whether we support it or not directly. So I don't know, was that your proposal, that we suspend the decision or just vote against it?
Through you, Chair, if I may, to give some more weight to what my proposal is. I'm saying that if we want to put, right, yes, there could be a decision on 20 mile an hour limits, in which case this survey is moot and it's £1,000 of wasted money. Or if we want to definitely have a 20 mile an hour limit, we go to LHFIG and say we definitely want 20 mile an hour limit on that particular lane. I don't think it's a particularly arduous decision that needs 750 quid spent on it.
Could I make a friendly amendment, Chair, through the Chair? That we suspend deciding on this to see the outcomes. That decision is imminent, and as you say, in the case that decision goes through, we don't need to do that assessment. We can just vote for it.
I'll accept the friendly amendment, Chair, and I will need a seconder for that friendly amendment. There we go. Can I propose to move to the vote, Chair?
What you said. Okay, right. So are we looking for a suspension? Okay, right. So let's take a vote on supporting this or not. Okay, so please vote for supporting the Wood Lane AMPR.
Point of order, Chair.
Yep.
The motion I submitted was that we do not support this. So I've got a seconder, I've got a friendly amendment. So the vote through you, Chair, would be that we vote to accept my amendment, as in that we don't we suspend this with a friendly amendment to suspend this until a future time. Chair.
Sorry, just to clarify, with respect, the recommendations either to support or not to support. So I think what you're probably what I'm assuming you're saying is you don't support this recommendation. So the vote would be to not support the money at this time.
Just on the point of order, aren't we allowed to make a proposal that's different from that? Yes, I think we are.
I believe you can, yeah, absolutely. If you could just suspend it, yeah. But so
that one, yeah.
Okay, so we're going for a voting on a suspension. So all those in favour of a suspension of the Wood Lane AMPR? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so on to item 9, swiftly. Proposed traffic regulation order consultation. To receive the following proposed traffic regulation orders and consider whether any comments be submitted to Wiltshire Council as a consultation response. So it's order 1 of the County of Wiltshire and North Wiltshire off-street parking order 2026. So over to.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Obviously, there's no report on this particular item, but Wiltshire Council are consulting on proposed changes to parking charges across the county as part of the legal statutory traffic regulation order process. Obviously, we provided details in the pack, which are quite extensive. The consultation sets out proposed updates to parking tariffs, operating hours and permits, and following a review of charges that appear to have remained largely unchanged since 22. No decisions have been made, and the council is invited to review the proposals and give any consultation responses. Obviously, with these responses, we would ask that if there are individual comments, that they are made as on behalf of the council. So we'd be looking for the PEC committee to agree any particular comment as a whole to be put forward to Wiltshire Council. Thank you, Chair.
So are there any comments or questions from councillors? Councillor Owen?
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say that while I understand that the parking charges themselves need to rise, they haven't increased for 4 years. I would be against the extension of the parking hours and the change of pricing for Sundays on the basis that it could impact those who go to places of worship and also those who choose to shop. I've given consideration to the fact that it might encourage some people to walk or cycle rather than park, but there will be those for whom that's not possible or reasonable, and it's an increased cost at a time of a cost of living crisis, despite the fact that Wiltshire Council clearly has got a budget that required this additional revenue. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any other comments? Councillor Puntis?
Yeah, I agree with what my colleague has just said. And I have to say, I'm utterly astonished that our current run Wiltshire Council is looking to increase not only parking charges, but also extend the length of time that those parking charges will apply to, bearing in mind the amount and volume of negativity when this was suggested. Just the increase in charges was suggested at the last budget a couple of years ago. It just, as I say, I'm astonished that it seems as if they've changed their minds from being against it to now wanting to go further than the previous administration wanted to go. And I'm utterly against this.
Any other comments? No? Okay. Okay, so can I ask for a proposer with comments that the committee wished to submit? Okay, Councillor Owen and a seconder?
Sorry, can I just clarify with this that obviously Councillor Owen, you came up with some specific comments about a particular time and a particular day. I'm hearing from Councillor Puntis that he outrightly objects to the entire proposal. It'd be useful to clarify where the position is.
Through the Chair, if I may, I am against the extension of the parking times. I accepted the increase in the charges, but I'm against the change of charging on Sundays in particular as well. So my proposal is against the extension of the parking times and the changes on to the charging structures for Sundays. Thank you.
So just in the spirit of trying to help get this one over the line, in terms of the Councillor Puntis, are you in agreement with that that summary?
I don't often disagree with my colleague. But on this occasion, I also feel, for the reasons stated by our colleague Councillor Beattie, who spoke earlier, we're trying to encourage people to come to the town. We had an increase in charges to bring a couple of years ago to bring us in line with the rest of the county. And I believe in this era of cost of living crisis, etc., discouraging people to come into the town to shop for both by both increasing the length of time and the amount of charges has too much of a negative impact. So I would suggest that we write a comment, an objection to all of this. Is that clear enough?
Do we have a seconder for that one? Okay, thank you, Councillor Owen. All those in favour? Oh, what we do the debate now? Just for Chippenham, yeah? Yeah, okay. So any other comments? Councillor Cus.
I'm not quite sure what's happening here because we've had two different proposals. Are we somehow going to amalgamate these together and vote on one of them, or will we be voting on both of them separately? Because I will support one of them, but I won't support the other one. So I'm wondering how I might be able to do that. Do I put one hand up and one down, or I'm not sure. I'm looking for guidance, Chair. Thank you.
Sorry, just again to try and help the chair from what I'm seeing in the meeting at the moment. Councillor Puntis has effectively conveyed that he wouldn't agree with the proposals at all for in Chippenham, and that I believe has been seconded by Councillor Owen. So that's what we're debating at the moment. Any of the changes in Chippenham would not typically agree with.
Councillor Rutledge.
I believe we should actually quite clearly distinguish between the two cases, whether we're objecting to all the changes or whether we're objecting to changes to the hours or the extension in the hours and not the pricing. So I think we have two proposals, basically.
I would accept that as a friendly amendment to my first comment, if that's allowed through the chair.
Councillor Bragg, then Councillor Scragg. Do you want to put your...
Yeah, before this item is closed, I'd like to just raise the issue that I'm concerned about my fellow councillors, really. When we have meetings starting at 7 p.m, many councillors drive in and just for the sake of a few minutes, they will really need to pay the car parking. And I do walk in, so I'm not too concerned personally, but it is a concern to this council, I think, that this may affect councillors in many ways who are attending meetings starting at 7 o'clock.
Through you, Chair. So I believe we have a first proposal from Councillor Puntis to object to everything about Chippenham, and then that will then be voted on rise or fall. And then there's a second amendment to only object to the timing from Councillor Owen. So I will second Councillor Owen's proposal. If I may, through you, Chair, Councillor Owen's proposal is to just object about the time changes, but nothing else. If I...
Okay, so can we go for, we're going with councillor Owen's proposal. Yeah. So proposer. Yeah.
We're definitely going for mine.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely yours. Seconder. Yeah. All those in favour?
This is.
Yeah, it's gone through. Okay. Okay, now, yeah. Okay, so item 10 on the agenda is Chippenham LH Fig Highways Improvement Requests to receive and consider a report from Democratic Services Officer regarding highway improvement requests received by the Town Council with the copy attached. And that is Sadie.
What's up, gang? I'm back. All right. So the purpose of this report is to consider the new highway improvement requests that have been received for the town council. So for each request, councils are asked to consider, is the request supported? Are there any comments regarding the request? And if the request is not supported, what's the reason? I'm going to run through them real fast and then I'll let the chair do the recommendation. So first up, we've got CTC reference 171. We looked at this 2 meetings ago and decided to defer it until we got more information from the applicant. So this is for all of Bath Road and onto the High Street. The speed limit should be reduced down to 20 miles per hour. That's the request. The second one is 172. The location is the junction where Elms Road meets Hill Corner Road. And this has to do with the junction presenting safety risks due to blind corners and limited visibility for drivers and pedestrians. And then vehicles often approach at speed, reducing reaction time. And this is a well-used walking route for families and school children heading into the town center and John Coles Park. And the improvement requested is a formal road safety assessment and maybe traffic calming measures along with that. Reference number 173 is located at 30 Darriads Green. So basically what's going on is there's a driveway that's with a dropped curb and people are parking in front of it, blocking the resident either in or out of their property. So they've asked for white lines in front of the drop curb. And then reference 174 is located at Charter Road. The issue is with traffic speeding through Charter Road. It's difficult to see in advance as people park on both sides of the road. And then within the residents' cul-de-sac, there's no pedestrian pathway. So when they leave their house, they enter straight onto the side road and then walk onto the Charter Road. And there's just like a lot of pedestrians and not great things for pedestrians. So they wanted some traffic calming measures. Financial implications, Wiltshire Council, for any that go forward, expect at least a 30% match fund and commitment for that. And yeah, take it away, Chair.
Okay, so let's go through each of these individually then. Okay, so the first one is reference 171, and that's Bath Road and the speed limit. Any comments or questions? Councillor Murray, then Councillor Bragg and Councillor Strife.
So we discussed this last time and said that we supported it from the bridge centre through to the town centre, that stretch of road, but not for the whole of Bath Road. So what's happened here is it gone back for clarification? Because we seem to be looking at the same thing again.
Yeah, so I think we wanted to get more information on what part of Bath Road the resident was referring to, and we got that clarification, and they want the whole of Bath Road.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Bragg.
Yeah, so given that, I can't really support it because that would include the roundabout on the junction of the A350, which means you start the roundabout at 50, go down to 20, come up to 50 again. It's a nonsense proposal. And also going into town, I agree with Councillor Murray's suggestion that part of it makes sense, but not on the whole of Bath Road. So I would say we can't support as worded.
Okay, Councillor Stragg, then we go Councillor Owen.
I'm rather concerned that given that the wards indicated a Kevin Park and Huntersmoor, Sheldon and Loudon, Rowden, Hardens and Central. I think that the applicant's under the impression that it's all the A4. I mean, the same road is Bath Road, and then it's Rowden Hill, and then I think it might become Bath Road again. So they're probably under the impression that they're talking about the whole of the road from the town centre to the town council boundaries. So I'm a bit concerned about that. And I certainly wouldn't support, well, they're fairly, well, it says, I think, a speed limit should be reduced down to 20, but I would certainly not agree with the idea of a 20 limit on the whole of the road. So it's still rather unclear to me.
Councillor Cousins?
Thank you, Chair. I'm minded that we shouldn't put this forward to LHFIG, but then on the other hand, as my colleague Councillor Murray said, there is a small part of this application which is very, very worthy, and that being the part from the bridge centre into town itself. So I would, it's difficult because we can't really propose on something which is, if we've got to say yes or no, I would go against no for the whole application, and then this applicant could come in the knowledge perhaps of knowing that the councillors around the table feel that that bit from the bridge centre to the centre of town maybe is something which is more acceptable. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we'll Councillor Owen, Councillor Massey, and then we'll go for it, so we're at the time.
Thank you, Chair. Like many of my colleagues, I can't support the 20-mile-an-hour limit across the entirety of the Bath Road up to the A350. I've given some thought about whether the short stretch between the gyratory and the town bridge might be 20 miles an hour, and I think that you could make an equal argument that that would extend to more of the town centre. So that's not in front of us, but looking at what I can see, I can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Councillor Owen and Councillor Scragg. I personally think the limit should be 30. There are far too many 20-mile-per-hour speed limits. In my opinion, they are dangerous because people are concerned about breaking the speed limit and they're taking their eyes off the road. And this is, to me, danger. So I agree. It should be remaining at 30, no 20s.
Okay, thank you. So to me, it looks like we're not supporting this. Am I correct? Right. So, okay, can I have a proposer for not supporting this? Councillor Owen, seconder. Councillor Stragg. Yeah, all those in favour of not supporting? Okay, right.
Excuse me, Chair. Could we add a comment to our not support that doesn't include not supporting 20 miles an hour? We just think that it's unclear as to the extent of the route that's being proposed here, because I don't want to give the impression that we don't support 20 miles an hour, despite some councillors' views, in the right place.
Yep, happy with that. Yep, problem. Okay, and next one is reference 172, Elms Road and Hill Corner Road Junction. Any comments from councillors? Councillor Cousins.
Thank you. Yes, I've met with the resident who brought this proposal forward, and I would very strongly support it. We stood at the point on the road where the resident is proposing this and saw that it's definitely in a situation where traffic visibility is very, very poor. However, whilst putting it forward to LHFIG, if we could attach a comment to it, which I'm sure LHFIG would probably be considering this anyway. Earlier we heard in the Queen's Crescent application about Journeys to School application, and the resident is very concerned about pupils in particular using this crossing, pupils of Harden Hewish, Sheldon and St Paul's School. And I'm wondering whether LHFIG would automatically, and if they don't, perhaps after this reminder, which we'll put in a comment, perhaps approach St Paul's, Harden Hewish or Sheldon School to look as to a Journeys for School bid to get some additional funding for this. Thank you.
Yeah, we can put that in a comment, that's fine. Any other comments? No, so all in favour? Yeah, okay, brilliant, thank you, yeah, done. Okay, the next one is 173, and that's Derrid's Green, white lines for a dropped curb. Any comments, Councillor Punt?
Just a general comment. There used to be on these responses a question: have you contacted your local councillor? It's not on here anymore.
It's on the form itself. I've just not included it in the report.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, for information, I haven't been contacted about this. I don't know whether any of my other councillor colleagues have. They're not here to answer, but I haven't. However, I do know about this from somebody else who's had the same problem elsewhere in my patch, and that's now been dealt with. This is a dropped curb already, and this is impeding this person coming in and out. It's quite a common thing to have a white line with two perpendicular ones at each end of that white line designating where that opening is. My slight concern is that this will open up the floodgates for everybody who's got a drop curb to have that done. And what this might result in is the person that parks in front of, or the people, the photos seem to show the same car parked across that driveway. That person might go and park in front of somebody else's driveway. Nevertheless, I think the principle of a drop curb having a white line is a good principle, and therefore I would support this.
Thank you. Councillor Murray, then Councillor Cousins.
Thank you, Chair. I believe the terms of reference for LHFIG states that the issues have to be of communal benefit rather than an individual. So I don't think LHFIG is entitled to support an individual request for something like this. Just being a bit, by the book.
Councillor Cousins.
Thank you. What Councillor Murray said is very much along the lines of what I was thinking, as it's a personal request. Also, I understand parking across the dropped curb is actually an offence. And so if people are parking across the dropped curb, then you can, as a resident, contact the appropriate people and have that car ultimately towed away, I understand. So there are already things in place which can deal with this situation. So.
Okay, so are we, Councillor Pantis?
So the communal element to this is there are other properties within that area that will have this same issue, no doubt. And I'm not sure about, and I don't think we're completely sure about what you've just said being the case. So I get what you say about, but I think the police have got enough to do without worrying about this. This is quite a straightforward, cheap, simple way to deal with it.
One more, Councillor Cousins, and that's
Thank you. May I just coming back to what Councillor Pantis has said there, I think at the road I live on, we have a similar sort of thing with people, and we could end up with lots of parts of Chippenham where this could go on and on, really. The way I've dealt with it is gone out and chatted to the person and just explained that they didn't realise that it was causing an issue, or at least that's what they said, and it was easily resolved. Yeah, I stand by my original decision. Yeah, thank you.
So are we going for a not supporting this one? Okay, do I have a proposer? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Strag. All those in favour of not supporting? All those against not supporting? Okay. Okay, now on to the next one. And that's reference 174 Charter Road speeding. So any comments? Councillor Strag.
I live in Fieldview, and I'm also concerned about traffic that might be going rather too fast, because just personally, when I'm turning from Fieldview into Charter Road, the view is very much obscured by cars parked on the right-hand side, and a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit might reduce traffic, cars speed a certain amount. I'm not sure whether that many cars actually go more than 20 or so around there, but yeah, there's another resident who's also approached me, who lives near the corner of Rowden Hill and Charter Road, who has to turn out into the road, and there's very little room between the Rowden Hill and where he turns out, so he's also concerned. So, but on the other hand, I think it'd be most sensible for there's lots of side roads that really need to be 20 miles an hour that aren't at the moment in Chippenham, and having spoken to the chair of LH Fig, it'd be much more economical to group many of these together, or even introduce widespread 20-mile-an-hour limit on the side roads where speed should be restricted. So either this item goes forward to LH Fig, and LH Fig could probably decide what I recommend, or we. It's probably best that it does go forward, so that it's logged against one of many probably similar requests for 20-mile-an-hour speed limits. So I recommend it goes forward, but I'd quite understand if LH Fig decided not to pursue this particular one individually.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Murray.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think this is one, I agree with Councillor Scragg that we should strongly support. I think it's a twisty road. It's got a retirement home on there and a lot of people walking into town. It's makes absolute sense. The only thing I would say, which comes back to our earlier discussion, is that putting it forward now by the traditional process would mean an assessment, etc. But once the new speed policy is agreed, if it is agreed, it will be basically up to us to vote on it to make it happen, although we will then bear the costs of putting up any additional signage, but no other costs, as I understand it. So if we support it, I just sort of say caveat it with the fact that this policy is coming through, and therefore we, we'll wait to hear back on that score.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Chair. I agree that traffic should be slowed down, but not by introducing 20-mile-per-hour speed limits. We could do traffic calming measures such as sleeping policemen, bumps in the road. That always works because nobody wants to wreck their car. If there's a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, it's not going to solve the problem. People will still break that speed limit. So I would object to Councillor Scragg on that one.
Go for it.
Residential area, and I'm concerned that road humps would create extra noise, certainly with vehicles with loads on the back. It would create extra noise through tyre noise and so on for residents, and I don't think it's the sort of I think it's a measure that's gone out of fashion to a certain extent, I think, and I wouldn't recommend that for the area of Charter Road.
Okay, shall we go for a proposal? Councillor Murray.
Propose that we strongly support this with the comments that I earlier said about the new policy.
Okay, so we go, Councillor, okay. So if we go for a support with comments, which we've come up with, yes? Proposer? Oh, okay, so all those in favour of supporting? All those, it's carried, okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so. Okay, so the following items are to note. Questions may be asked for clarification purposes only. So this is item 11, a temporary street closure and traffic management. To note the following. Temporary closure of the byway 45 part from the 1st of June to the 19th of June 2026, the copy attached. The second is temporary closure of Canterbury Street from the 2nd of June to the 5th of June 2026 between the hours of 0900 and 1600, copy attached. And the third one is temporary closure of the High Street part on the 24th of June between the hours of 19:30 and 21:30 for the Chippenham Longest Day 10K event, copy attached. Okay, so and then we go to item 12, which is items for communication. To consider any items for communication from this meeting to the public. Do we have any items for communication to residents? Fabulous. Second one is to consider any questions or actions from this meeting to refer to the Youth Council for their opinion or their response. So do we have any questions for the Youth Council for their response? Oh, Councillor Stragg.
So my item of interest, if there's any relation to their travel to school, you know, so some of what we considered this evening might be of interest to the young people.
Okay, thank you. And so item 13, date of the next meeting. It will be taking place on the Thursday, the 7th of May at 7 p.m.